Hello everybody, this is Dave Shepard here with Brickhouse Toneworks. I'm going to show you all how to transfer everything off of my pre-wired Strat pickguard template onto your existing pickguard or whatever aftermarket pickguard you want to choose from. But I do offer this on a template so that you can transfer it to whatever you have and you don't have to worry about it being an issue fitting or lining up because you've already got your pickguard. So there you go. But everything comes nicely wired, perfectly wired. This is kind of an interesting one. The customer wanted a blender in the middle pot and master tone on the bottom and volume at the top. So that's why the wiring looks a little bit different than usual. But anyway, the same principle goes for all the transfers here. So you're going to get the wiring harness template just like this on a board ready to go with a pre-wired switchcraft jack, and you're going to get a wiring diagram that's going to show you where to solder your two or three wires. So you're going to have a ground wire from your tremolo claw, and then you're going to have a ground wire from the jack, and then you're going to have the hot wire from the jack, and you may have another wire from your shielding if you have that, but it'll show you on the diagram as well. And then you'll need a 1/2-inch socket and a screwdriver, Phillips head, and a good soldering iron. And if I have to get into showing you guys what to do with soldering, then just stop right here, because I think I would rather recommend that you take it to somebody and have them put it in for you if you've never soldered before. But anyway, let's get into this. All right, so I've got everything set up, ready to go. I put the template face down on like a cloth, microfiber cloth or whatever you have, something to keep it from getting damaged when you're working on it. But we'll go ahead and we'll loosen the nuts on the pots, and then we'll loosen the screws, and we'll just lift this whole template right off and leave the pickups, the pots, switch, and everything just as is, face up, and then we'll transfer it to the pickguard. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is take the screws and the tubing off of this, and then I'm going to put it on the pickguard the same way that you see it here. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, you can see that the tubing, when you slide it over, it just holds the screws into place so that they don't fall out when you're working with everything. It makes it a lot easier than using springs. So that's why I use that tubing on the screws like that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to flip this over, and we're going to line everything up very carefully and put this right on top and fasten everything to the pickguard. And then next thing I'll do, I just finger tightened everything. I didn't crank anything down yet. So I've got the screws just holding the switch on, and the nuts tightened on by hand so that everything's just held into place. And then the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get the pickups lined up and get those on there as well. So I like to start with the neck pickup. So just push it through the pickguard like that, and then just push your screws down. We'll go to the middle pickup, do the same thing. Push the pickup through, and then push the screws down. And then last but not least, the bridge pickup. And you got to be careful. Take your time. Save the beer for after, and you should be fine. Everything goes in pretty easy. I do build in slack on the wires just a little bit so that you can work with different spacings or any kind of issues like that where you might have to move the pots a little bit or whatever. But anyway, everything's on there. It's ready to go. And the next thing I'm going to do is tighten down the pots with the 1/2-inch socket. And I just kind of, make sure that I don't crank it too tight. I don't want to crack the pick guard or anything like that. I just put it on there until it's pretty snug, because you got lock washers on the back, which will keep it from coming loose. And then we'll go ahead and do the same with these. And that's it. Everything's on there. Perfect. Okay, now we're on to installing the pre-wired jack. So you'll take the plate out, remove the old jack, and then you'll have this pre-wired jack, and you'll want to go ahead and just undo the wires, have them ready to go through, and then you'll just take off the nut and washer, leave the lock washer on there. You'll need that. That's this part right here. And we'll go ahead and put this through. And then put the nut and washer on there. And then I'll just use my 1/2-inch socket to just sort of snug it down so that I can still rotate it. And then when you put it in the cavity, you can't have it straight up and down like that, and you don't want it like that. What you do want to do is just put it like this at a slight angle. And I've cranked down the nut pretty good on that one because I never want that to come loose. And then I can go ahead and feed the wires through the cavity. All right, and then once you have the jack plate screwed into place, then I'll just take a cable, plug it in, make sure that there's nothing obstructing the cable from going in, which it's smooth, it's real tight. And now we're on to going ahead and making our connections. We have on this guitar, I've got the ground from the tremolo claw, the jack, and the hot wire from the jack, and that's it. So that connection is made. Everything's ready to go. I can take the cloth out, flip it over, and drop it in, and then just make sure the wires get tucked in underneath, that nothing gets pinched between the guitar and the pickguard. And then before I fasten everything down, I'll plug it in and tap test the pickups, make sure every position works correctly, and then I can go ahead and put all my screws back in, string it up, set the guitar up, and it should be good to go. All right, last but not least, you're going to want to put the knobs and switch tip on, which is not included. You will need US spec knobs and switch tip, which have what they call fine spline or fine knurl, 24 spline they call it. But anyway, it's got to be the inch US spec knobs, and also with the switch tip as well, you need the same thing. the inch spec US switch tip, which this guitar had that already, so we're just swapping the knobs from one to the other, no problem. All right, last thing we're going to do is adjust our pickup heights. And the way I do that is I fret the high E and the low E string against the last fret to take my measurements. And so I start with the neck pickup and press down the high E on the last fret. And I've got a ruler that measures in 30 seconds and in 64ths. And I'll stick that right on top of the high E magnet. And I'm wanting usually 30 seconds on the treble side. I usually go between 3 and 4 30 seconds on the treble side. And that's measuring from the bottom of the string to the top of the magnet while pressing down on the last fret. And then on the low E string, I'll usually go between 4 and 5 30 seconds, usually about 4 30 seconds. Same thing, mash down on the low E on the last fret, measure from the bottom of the string to the top of the magnet, and then I do the same, I repeat the same through all the rest of the pickups. Then I plug it in, and if I feel like I need to balance things a little bit, sometimes I'll back the neck pickup down just a little bit more. If I feel like I want to warm it up or take some of the bottom end out of the neck pickup. But usually those measurements right there will get you right in the ballpark, and you'll sound great. So thanks for watching, and visit my website, brickhouse.tone.com. Subscribe to my channel, and have a great day.